TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live for TFNN. We get the markets right now pretty tame to kick off Tuesday trading. You get the S&Ps within 1 point to the close yesterday. We're positive by 1 point right now, technically trading at 42.81. Tech stocks backing off a bit from quite the acceleration they've had. We're negative by 18 points, but man, oh man, you put the NASDAQ 100 on a daily chart, folks. We'll talk about higher prices in a big way. We were just trading at 13,000 as of May 19th, folks. We're about to hit 15,000. We're not about to hit. About to hit. We're up 1,500 points from that price level just on May 18th. Remarkable, the acceleration that we've had. Jumping around to the Dow. The Dow, 34,254. You see the highs that we made back there at about May 10th, 35,000 on the dot, back to a 15-minute chart. You trade lower actually yesterday on the Dow. The laggard yesterday, we got the yields right at about 1.5% today on the 10-year. Russell positive by 3 points at 23.19. Bitcoin catching quite the acceleration. You put Bitcoin on a daily. We were down last week to below 30,000. We're trading at about 36,000 right now. Seems to be about a consolidation we got going on between about 30 and 40,000. We had a little bit of resistance back in January. We made a high of 42,730. Bitcoin finding a bid at that critical area, you could say, of about 30,000. Found a bid back there in January before accelerating to 65,520 the day Coinbase goes public, April 14th. Since then, we've backed up dramatically, almost cut in half. We're trading higher, though, this morning at 36,000. Kathy Woods, ARK, she'll be trying to start a Bitcoin ETF along with many other people on Wall Street. I'm sure there'll be plenty to choose from when finally the SEC maybe will approve them. Crude trading higher. Look at that acceleration in crude. My goodness. Yesterday, quite a red bar that we got in crude. You can't even see it on a daily chart, folks. Since the run began on November 2nd, it's been a one-way shot. Maybe we got 4 or 5 days of pullback back there in March, but since then, it's been one way to the upside, $73.56. We're up another percent today on the price of crude. You jump to gold, as I talked about on the update. Quite the acceleration we got at 8:15. It began. We were above 17.75. We're down $25 on the session on gold. And, man, we just traded below the areas in terms of the lows we had back in June. We're also below anything that we had basically in late April. Next area that you're going to in this chart, maybe you're talking about 1731. Maybe you come down and challenge these lows we got. You're talking about 1675, about 1673. Technically the low back to March on gold after being up to about 1920 this morning. All right, what else we got going on? Let's jump around to some of the banks because they're giving out money last night because they got the ability to. Morgan Stanley, the biggest standout probably, they're up about $3 on their plans. Jumping into the headline, Wall Street funnels cash to investors on stress test success is how Bloomberg puts it. Morgan Stanley doubles the dividend, announces stock repurchases. It's interesting. I was watching this come out last night about 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. The banks were announcing this. Morgan Stanley was the first one to announce it, and they probably announced the best. They had no problem waiting for anybody else. They pumped it out. They knew that they were going to come to the table with some pretty dramatic numbers in terms of doubling their dividend. And how about a $12 billion stock buyback? That really accelerates higher. Everybody else as well. I think Citi was the only one not to raise their dividend in there. Wells Fargo announced an $18 billion buyback program, doubled the dividend to 20 cents. Investors may be less than enthralled by the payout, however, which stood at 51 cents a year ago when the scandal-plagued firm cut it to 10 cents. So they go from 51 to 10, they double it back to 20 nonetheless. So Morgan Stanley trading higher. You had all the banks when Morgan Stanley announced trade a little bit higher, pull back, but you got JP Morgan up almost $1 this morning. Bank of America barely positive after climbing barely to about 42 last night. We talked about Wells Fargo. They're higher this morning as well. Citi, the one, as I mentioned, I believe not increasing their dividend, actually lower on missed expectations on that front today. You got Citi trading down about 50 cents. Jumping around, what else we got going on? Tesla. Tesla got to get a downgrade today by one of the analysts. We'll jump over to that in a moment. They're down a bit to 684. Coinbase jumping around on the heels of Bitcoin accelerating higher yesterday. You go from 225 to about 245. You close at 246.69. We're higher by $3 this morning on Bitcoin continuing to trade higher overnight. We'll take a look at the VIX this morning as this market continues higher. We're talking about 1543. We might get a legitimate 14 handle. I say legitimate handle, folks, because occasionally you're getting these low prints, and maybe that is correlating to how the VIX is calculated, but it's not a sustained price that really correlates to a VIX below that level. Still, we're below the historical average of the volatility index. Think about everything going on, the amount of uncertainty going on in this market, almost the perfection that this market is priced for. You could argue rightfully so, because you get the Fed behind it with bazookas. You have the Chairman Powell, arguing, along with many other Fed presidents, that it's transitory inflationary data, and they're going to be waiting to be proven otherwise, essentially. And it's going to be difficult to actually have data that will force the Fed to address that it is not transitory in any near future. And I think that's what the market is catching up with. Unfortunately, it looks like 8 million jobs that we were missing prior to COVID. We're not going to be making up as fast as we may have hoped. The Fed's still going to be there until they do. But now the worry is inflationary data. Will that persist? It will probably persist to some degree. The Fed's going to allow it to float above 2%. But where does that conversation shift once we get some pullback, maybe in used car pricing, once we get some pullback, maybe in input pricing in terms of commodities, et cetera, that's driving up the price so much when you look at crude. But we'll see. We'll see how that happens. Nonetheless, very little volatility priced into a market with an S&P flirting with 4,300. And we get jobs data coming on Friday. Interesting to get that number ahead of a long weekend. Markets closed on Monday, July 5th for the July 4th holiday. We'll be closed as well at TFNN. Always love that nice little long weekend. Crazy action happening in this gold contract. We just touched 1750.10. We're down about $29 right now, down 1.6% in the gold contract, and jumping over to just the euro US dollar to see the action. It's continuing to slide. So we get some dollar strength. We get some euro weakness. The euro continuing to make lows, putting the euro on a little bit of a daily. You see the drop we have going on today, and this correlating heavily in terms of the dollar to the price of gold, commodities, et cetera, of course. All right, what else we got going on in terms of stories that we're taking a look at here? The stocks that we have taken moves. We talked about the banks. I want to talk about United. Where are we with Boeing? So interesting here. Boeing, they got 200 jets coming from United. Airbus has got 70 of the bigger ones. Boeing this morning, you're up about $3. Quite the drop-off yesterday on the travel stocks across the board. Fast market, 11 o'clock. They were in a great conversation to kick things off. Kevin Hinks, our man, we'll be talking to him coming up after the break, talking about, the Delta variant. No matter how you feel about COVID, folks, it is persisting, especially over in Europe. That's going to cause some big problems. When you talk about international travel, not quite where maybe the airlines probably hoped it would be. I mean, United got up to $63 back in March. We're coming into July, 4 months later, and this thing's 20% off that level. We're coming into an area that we were basically trading at in December. Now we're going to open a little bit higher on United. They seem to be really preparing for the future here. Talk about a capital investment, 270 jet Boeing and Airbus order. They're going 200 Boeing MAX jets, 70 Airbus 320 Neos, and United just trading with the market. But that's, once we do get over this international hump, domestic travel, of course, but all the airlines pulling back yesterday. I mean, look at JetBlue. You're back to almost a 50% of the whole run you had in November. Talk about a little bit more when we get back from the break. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Golden ratios give shape to everything in our world, represented in the Fibonacci sequence. These special numbers define the patterns that make up our universe. Not even markets can escape the omnipotence of these ratios. Larry Pesavento is a 45-year market veteran who has published nearly a dozen books on the powerful patterns we find in nature and their relationships with the ever-elusive markets. Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, will teach you to harness the power of these natural golden ratios in order to create successful trades. Fibonacci 24/7 is designed to teach the tools you need to identify and act on these undeniable and reoccurring patterns. Sign up for Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, and you will also receive free access to his trading webinar, Trading Strong Trending Markets. Try out Larry's newsletter risk-free. All of TFNN's newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. The S&P's up 2 points this morning as we await the opening bell, trading at 42.82. We got yields at about 1.5% right now. We get the gold contract trading lower to the tune of about $25 right now, down 1.4%, trading at 17.56. Folks, every trading day, live on Tiger TV, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The program Fast Market by the TD Ameritrade Network. Kevin Hinks, Alex Coffey, and the team breaking down the market action, talking about hypothetical trades, trade management, rolling, the whole deal. We're coming into the long weekend. We got July 4th coming up, but before then, we're going to get some jobs number data on Friday. Kevin Hinks, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy O'Brien. Yep, big week, but it's kind of a mixed message, right? It's pre-holiday, so there'll be less eyes on the market, but you got a pretty significant, as comes every year, pretty significant data point right before the holiday weekend. So it'll be interesting how it plays out. But, so far the data this morning has been pretty strong. We've got really good news for the banks this morning. We've got really good news for airlines and Boeing, which had some bad news yesterday and had a pretty weak day. So, a big day yesterday in Facebook. Facebook's kind of unchanged this morning as, the court case that was dismissed by the FTC, be careful. They have 30 days to refile, so they could do that. So Facebook's news, really good now. That's a $1 trillion company. Really good news on the banks has big jumps in the dividend. Morgan Stanley and Wells Fargo doubled their dividend, Tommy. So, and United Airlines with that big order for 270 new planes. So, it's a pretty quiet market, but within that market, there's some pretty good news out here, Tommy.
Yeah, you think about travel, of course, Kevin, man. I know we all can't wait to get back to getting out in the world, man. And it seems like just intuitively, fundamentally, it'd be a good time for the airlines, if you believe in that future, and I believe in that future just in terms of humanity, man. People want to travel. They want to see the world. They want to get out to invest in some capital and some planes, man, because I imagine travel is going to be something we're all going to be trying to do. And United, just in my own perception, you guys love to talk about like folio, right? You talk about, people's perceptions. You talk about,
sure.
In my head, Kevin, when I think of United, I don't think of like the newest, most up-to-date planes. Now, I'm spoiled down here in Tampa because we got JetBlue that started down here. We got these nice little, newer type of planes, but it seems like that would be a good time. 270 planes, man. That's going to be quite an addition to their fleet. And, of course, as you put it, man, Boeing, they have to like that after some volatility to the downside. We got some housing data this morning that's on fire as well. But yeah, so we look towards Friday, Kevin. It's really interesting. You look at the jobs data. We're like 8 million jobs under where we were prior to COVID. But it seems like, and probably rightfully so in my opinion, but I want to see what you're thinking, that the inflationary conversation is much more important than maybe the jobs number might be when you look at how the Fed is reacting to the two potential, drivers, whether it's full employment and stable prices at a 2% level as we go forward. It might be something that the market just takes in stride on Friday if really inflation is the thing that's worrying us, and we don't have to worry. It seems like the market's telling us for the near future.
Well, right now we do get, on Friday, we'll get inflation data in the wages section of the unemployment report. So the expectations are, after last month, wages went up 0.5%. This month, the expectations, now this is the consensus, is we're looking for up 0.4. If that plays out as consensus, Jerome Powell can make the case that inflation is still there, but coming down and more transitory than we thought. So I think if this is happening, if the inflation data that we're seeing, and we saw it last month in CPI and PPI, is starting to trail back down towards normal levels, then Jerome Powell has played this perfectly, Tommy.
Yeah, it's always interesting to get the data, man. And I think, you've said it many times, I think he's doing an outstanding job as well right now in a very tough situation, to put it lightly, obviously. But I think he's got all the data he needs to make that argument he's making on the inflation front, at least for the foreseeable future, because of the way the data is persisting. And, those pockets of inflationary tendencies that do seem like they'd be transitory, like all the ones that make the headlines, like, of course, crude prices, you got used car prices, housing prices, Kevin, today. My goodness, you're talking about, I think it was 14.6% in April after a 13.3% increase in March. Those wages better be going up, man. If we get housing prices going up 14 to 15% on a monthly basis. We're a little bit slow on the earnings, but we do get a couple later in the week coming up. I know we got Wednesday and Thursday. We get a couple as we end the season. What are you guys going to be talking about today on the program, Kevin, coming up at 11?
Like Foley will do their presentation today on one of the names we have this week. It's pretty light, but Bed Bath & Beyond coming out with earnings before the open tomorrow. So we'll cover them pretty heavily. Micron's the only real name, so what we do this time of year is themes. As we're in that, we're only a couple weeks now until the start of second quarter earnings season, which will start on July 13th when we get J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So we'll get the banks on July 13th and 14th, but right now we're doing themes, but we do get to cover Bed Bath & Beyond today as they have earnings before the open tomorrow morning.
Well, we all know that maybe the Reddit boys and girls over there at Wall Street Bets, they'll be placing their bets ahead of that. We got Bed Bath & Beyond trading at 30. I'm interested in the Analyze tab, folks. Right now, $3.81 move I got priced in there, more than a 10% move. That's more than a 12% move. It would make sense when some of those stocks can move maybe 5-10% on a daily basis just with the action it gets. Kevin, man, we appreciate the education and the information as always, and we look forward to the program coming up at 11 o'clock today. Have a great one, man.
Thanks for having me on, Tommy.
My pleasure. Folks, tune in 11 o'clock every trading day. Fast Market, outstanding program. I always learn something myself listening to that. The way they set up trades, the way they manage trades, they'll kick off the program. They'll do a little trade management from the prior shows in terms of the trades they have going on. Just really helps you, applying theories in real time in terms of practical applications, folks. They stress it. They go over the fundamentals. Then they take the fundamentals and they show you how to tweak those trades to however bias, because there's almost an endless amount of ways that you can configure trades using multi-leg options. It's a great program. If you haven't checked it out, check it out at 11 o'clock. And as we wait for that market open, we got markets creeping to the upside a bit. We got the S&P 84. Tech stocks trying to make it into the positive. We're at 14,502. Let's jump around to some of the FANG stocks this morning as we kick it off. Amazon shares barely in the green. As Kevin mentioned, Facebook, strong ruling for Facebook yesterday. So the FTC does have the ability to refile, and that they probably will in the next 30 days. There was a bunch of states were in there as well, and the states actually unable to refile. I think that was dismissed, so they're unable to refile their portion of the case. Nonetheless, just strong acceleration. Facebook eclipsing the $1 trillion billion market capitalization. You think about it, just staggering. You know, the two of the biggest companies tech-wise that have really accelerated recently, Google and Facebook, those were the two that were supposed to take the most heat. Right? You put it on a 5-year daily. We're just going to get the full run of COVID. This thing, I mean, Google's just a rocket ship from the run in September from 1,400 to 2,536. And remember, folks, this is Google was the one that was going to be potentially maybe dealing with some antitrust. Maybe that was back in September that things really started to get talked about. This thing accelerates from a price point back in September of 1,665 down to 1,400, and then it just takes off to the upside. And Facebook, in a similar fashion, you get the full COVID, you see a little pullback in September that lines up, but man, Facebook just traded from what's the low there? 244 to 355. They were the ones supposed to take the most heat. Turns out investors kind of overblowing the fear of regulation as Facebook and Google accelerate higher. Tech stocks trading up. We're only -8. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back for the market open.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Tom O'Brien has just published his 1,000th gold report. It's amazing to think that Tom has been writing his weekly gold report for almost 20 years. To celebrate the 1,000th issue of Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, we've just launched a Tiger Dollar sale, which runs for 2 weeks only through July 4th weekend. We've doubled all the Tiger Dollar bonuses, where you can now get up to a 40% bonus on your purchase. But that's not all. Inflation is here, and the price of the Gold Report is going up after July 4th. Right now, you can lock in the Gold Report at the current pricing of $97 a month for as long as you remain a subscriber. This deal won't come around again. Get your Tiger Dollars today and apply them to the Gold Report before the price goes up on July 5th. Tiger Dollars never expire and are good for any TFNN newsletter or service as a great way to add savings. Head on over to the front page of TFNN.com for all the details and help us celebrate Tom O'Brien's 1,000th Gold Report.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open and we got markets ticking higher. We got the tech stocks barely in the red. NASDAQ 100 negative by just 7 points. We got the S&Ps making new all-time highs as we speak, folks. Just get that recording out. We got to play it all the time. We get the S&Ps right now inching towards 4,300. We're only about 13 points away from there. We're positive by 6 points. The Dow catching a little bit of a bid on the open as well. Dow's up 163 points. Tech stocks barely in the red. We'll call it 14,500. We're within 5 points of that price level right now. You jump over to Bitcoin, continuing to run as well, 36,350. Gold contract, quite the decimation. We got $26 lower at $17.54. We jumped to silver, down 50 cents as well, $25.77. And notes and bonds right now, we're negative by 5 ticks. You get the 10-year right at about 1.5%. All right, jumping around, as I mentioned, those home prices, just going to talk about a moment. So we got this number at 9 a.m. this morning. Schiller, home prices in April saw an annual gain, but still you're talking about 15% in April. That's like home prices nationwide, up from 13.3% in March, so it's accelerating higher. That's the S&P CoreLogic Case Shiller National Home Price Index. Among the larger cities covered in the index, the 10-city comp was up 14.4% year over year, up from 12.9%. The previous month, the 20-city comp was 14.9% higher, up from 13.4%. In March, Phoenix, San Diego, and Seattle reported the highest year-over-year gains. All were up over 20% from the year before. 5 cities, Charlotte, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, and Seattle, saw their largest annual gains ever. It'd be interesting to see whether we get some recoil here. Inventory for homes for sale rose slightly in May compared to April, still 21% lower than May of 2020. That's the National Association of Realtors. Yeah, just staggering data. We're all aware of it. But, boy, if you don't think wages got to go up, folks, when you got to pay 15% more for a house than you paid just 1 year ago, that's part of what's going on. There's a lot of variables in play, right? Everybody loves to talk about the extra stimulus that's keeping people away at home. But all I would encourage you to do is think about one of the variables in play as well. And like I said, there's a lot of variables in play. Which ones are having the biggest impact right now is where the equation is so hard to figure out, and we'll all find out as time marches on, because those stimulus payments, they're already out in 30 states or so that the additional unemployment benefits have been done away with. That was supposed to be the reason why there are so many job openings that aren't being filled. Then you have the benefits retiring in all states in September as part of the pandemic unemployment assistance. So that's all going to disappear. What is going to persist, folks, is people recalibrating what they want out of life, okay, and thinking about whether they want to slave away making $10 an hour for a company that makes billions of dollars a year in most cases for those big corporations. The other side of that is prices are going up everywhere. So would you go back to a job that you were at 16 months ago for the same wage when the cost of your life has gone up dramatically over that period of time over the last 16 months? Because then people go, because this is a conversation everyone's having, right? So then you go to the next step, say, well, how is it fair that those businesses have to pay you more than they were paying you 16 months ago? Well, in many cases, folks, those businesses have already come out and said that they have to raise their prices because of rising input prices. One of those rising input prices being labor. So where does that stem out? We're going to find out. But nonetheless, 8 million jobs. We got to make them up, and they're just not getting made up just yet. And things are going to get a little dicey if inflation persists, and we got that many jobs to make up, and we have unemployment assistance ending, and people don't fill those vacancies. We're going to get a little taste of that on Friday. All right, jumping around to what else we got going on. The FTC, in terms of Facebook, judge dismisses that suit. The state antitrust complaints are the ones that they're unable to file, I believe, back in there. Facebook accelerating higher. They sued the company last December, along with attorneys general from 48 states, arguing they engaged in systematic strategy to eliminate threats to its monopoly, including the acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. However, the court ruled Monday that the FTC failed to prove its main contention and the cornerstone of the case, that Facebook holds monopoly power in its U.S. personal, social, networking market. Although the court does not agree with all of Facebook's contentions here, it ultimately concurs that the agency's complaint is legally insufficient and must therefore be dismissed. The FTC has failed to plead enough facts to plausibly establish a necessary element of all of its Section 2 claims, namely that Facebook has monopoly power in the market of personal social networking services. The bar should be pretty high when you come after these companies. It would seem to me that Facebook does have a pretty much a monopoly when you talk about Facebook and Instagram, the two of them combined. The complaint is undoubtedly light on specific factual allegations regarding consumer switching preferences. These allegations, which do not even provide an estimated actual figure or range for Facebook's market share at any point over the past 10 years, ultimately fall short of plausibly establishing that Facebook holds market power. You know, it's probably above my pay grade in there, but nonetheless, when you think about it, the bar should be pretty high when you come after private companies and say that they got a monopoly and you don't even have estimates over there in terms of the market share over a 10-year period. That's a little bit tough, and the judges tell them so. And nonetheless, they'll be able to refile within 30 days. I imagine they might have some of those details in there within that time. You might see Facebook pull back a bit, but as I stated, coming into the open, and you are seeing them pull back a bit already in the open, down about 0.5%, giving back some of the gains it had yesterday. But boy, I mean, the price of regulation in these companies is priced in, folks, and the market don't care because the amount of ads that they have, the amount of people surveying in terms of across the internet, spending their time online, seeing those ads, there's no denying the type of printing press that Google and Facebook have going on right now. Google having YouTube and Facebook, of course, Facebook and Instagram in their arsenal. Okay, what else we got going on? Where are we? Yeah, Morgan Stanley, jumping around to other stocks we have going on. Yeah, we'll talk about that in United, Facebook, home prices, Morgan Stanley. All right, let's jump around to some of those FANG stocks before I jump around to some of the equities. We've got Amazon shares down about 0.1% today. A little bit of a pop yesterday. Microsoft shares right now flat, making an all-time high on the open, though, to 269.21. The big dog, Apple shares, as we got the NASDAQ 100 in the green. Folks, green across the board. Didn't take long right now. You got Apple shares down 0.2. We'll jump over to Tesla shares. Tesla shares down about 0.6% right now after accelerating higher yesterday to almost $700 on theirs. We'll jump to some of the banks and see how they're trading on the open. Morgan Stanley up 3.2% on their numbers. JP Morgan up about 0.8%. JP Morgan, all-time high 167. Bank of America, call it flat, up about 0.1%. Citi was the only one that did not increase their dividend, and they are trading higher from the open. They're still down about 0.75%, but they get back some of those losses as we're trading at about $71. And look at that, folks. Didn't take long. S&P is 42.88. All the markets popping higher in the open. We got the NASDAQ 100, 14,524. The Dow, 154 points in the positive. You're down about 700 points away from all-time highs in the Dow. And you're about 40 points, is it, in the Russell? Yeah, you're about 40 points exactly from all-time highs in the Russell. The Russell just bumping up against all-time highs on the Russell. We've been bumping up against this area since February 9th, folks. 2,300, the upper boundary line, upper consolidation area, we'll say, in the Russell as we bump up against that area. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back after the break.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets in positive territory with the S&Ps reaching an all-time high. Futures 4289, 11 mark. We get the NASDAQ 100 back about 14,500. We're in the green this morning by 2 points, and the Dow up 108 points. Look at the Dow, though, giving up the run it had right now. You put it on even a, let's put it on 1 minute just to see that drop. Look at the Dow, makes it to 34,360, and just like that, we give back 100 points. We're now below where we were on the open on the Dow. Price point of 34,270. The Dow continues to be a little bit of a laggard, but 750 points off of the all-time highs. Jumping around to the sad story over there in Miami with the building collapse. I mean, just you can't send enough thoughts and like prayers. There's no words, folks, you know, of how sad it is. It really is just something that really hasn't sunk in yet in terms of just a complete building with hundreds of people, 152 still accounted for. And, you know, hopefully they do a deep dive into what's happening here. It seems like a case of pretty flagrant that there were signs there in a big way. In the 2008 engineer report, I mean, it's what I want to stress here. People, you know, there's the political nature of everything these days, and regulations are decried by many. You need regulations in certain cases, folks. You know, people love to say that market forces dictate everything. You're seeing it, that unfortunately there's not enough regulations going on with some of these buildings to have a 2018 report talking about major structural damage, and then you have a city official coming in basically telling everybody that it was not in bad shape at the meeting 2 days later. And it turns out, I mean, it was talked about, folks. Now, this is just 2 days before the collapse. You had somebody in there looking at for a pool quote, and even he was so amazed at how the underneath looked, that there's rebarb exposed with drainage everywhere. And it had to stem from the fact that there was a material mistake when they built this building, is what that 2018 report said, talking about that the slab beneath the pool was flat instead of sloped, allowing for no drainage. In an area where you're right near the beach, salt water that had caused erosion. They talked about it in there. Just a sad story in multiple ways, and it's even more sad as it comes out more and more in terms of the report and what was indicated in terms of massive structural. Just a sad deal there, and hopefully they get that in order. Because if I was living in a building, folks, anywhere near the salt water that had anything like this, and the real bummer of it is these people didn't know. They're living in their own building, and and they told it was safe despite major structural damage. You had people moving into this building 14, 16 months ago. The reports coming out saying, why weren't people known about this? It's a bad deal in terms of what happened there, and hopefully they do what they can to make sure it never happens again in a big way. All right, let's go and jump around to see what else we got going on. And so as they put it now, what's interesting here is that this story, not updated as of the drop that gold had already this morning, talking about the dollar trading lower, Europe's COVID variant concerns. The Delta variant, folks, from a market perspective, it's accelerating in the UK right now. And unfortunately, the vaccination levels, even in the US, allowing it to persist in pockets. And when you talk about international travel especially, I mean, you saw the cruise lines in a big way as well. Carnival down almost another % today, as you've had them drop out from about 28 plus down to below 26 this morning. We talked about United buying 270 planes. I mean, folks, longer term, there's some opportunities here in some of these airlines. Now, we're going to get over this. Yeah, United trading from 90 down to 17. We're back at 52 right now. This would be the time, if they have the ability to, and United does, to add to their fleet, because it's going to be a time of boom and travel. So if I was a long-term investor, I would love the fact that they're buying 270 new planes, updating their fleet. As I said to Kevin Hinks, United, in terms of their brand, I think of them as an old, outdated airline. I do. It's tough to compete, as I said, when I'm just flying legs from Tampa to Boston is my most common one. Haven't made it up there in a while. I plan to soon. JetBlue's got a great fleet of cars, but I mean, look at JetBlue even. You're down from 22 to 17. You just gave back $5. You just gave back 22% on this equity in the last, what are we talking about, April 5th? Yeah, it's about 10, 12 weeks over that time. So volatility in airlines in the long run, they're going to be all right, but Europe's a big deal right now, and this Delta variant is as well. And I'm just talking about market perspective and how they're playing into things in terms of these travel stocks, the airlines, the cruise ships as well. All right, let's jump around to some of my favorite stocks out there. We'll jump to Disney shares, backing off a bit, down about 1/3%. We had a big opening for Fast and Furious over the weekend. I believe it was $70 million they took in. Only about 80% of theaters open. Pretty encouraging signs for the movie theater business overall. Disney backing off, though, when they opened yesterday. Disney continuing to struggle. You look to their strength area, about 170 is a nice area of support for Disney. Got down to that area early in January, bounced from that area back in May as well. That correlates to about the 382 area that we had from that entire run-up from about 116 to 203 on Disney shares. Jump to Salesforce. We have some Salesforce in my newsletter, Rocket Equities and Options, breaking out of the downtrend channel it had been in since its all-time high back in September of 284.50. Salesforce, a Dow 30 stock. You break out of that trend channel. Love the way you break out of this, right? Look at how you break out of it. Boom. Earnings accelerate right out of that. You come into earnings right at that trend channel. You accelerate out of it. You come back and test the channel line. If you're in my newsletter, you've seen me talk about it. Note to our man Bud Rolfs, the Tiger Trading Post, a former host and newsletter writer at TFNN, and he's the channel king, folks. And he would say, you break out of a channel line. The ideal setup is you break out of that channel line. What do? You come back and you test the channel line, and then you bounce off. And look how perfect it is, folks. You bounce off that level at about 230. We're trading at 245. This is a strong stock, Salesforce. The reason why we have it in my newsletter. But number one, you're in the cloud. The cloud is just the future, folks, in a big way. It's one of the reasons why I'm a huge bull in Amazon. They just own everything, the cloud in particular. But Salesforce, and being a Dow 30 component, being one of the technology components of that Dow 30, always nice to have that lift in there. And I imagine this thing's going to be working its way back up to that all-time high of 284.50. We're trading about 245 this morning, up 0.25%. And it's higher prices across the board, folks, except for that gold contract pulling back, as I mentioned, below the area that we had April 29th, the low 1754.60. Actually got below that for a brief moment early this morning, down to 1750, and we're back up about $6 from the low right now. That's right. Oh yeah, love Bud Rolfs. 1756 in the gold contract. And let's jump over to the VIX as this market continues higher. Now, what I encourage you to do is, 1410 is the low here, and that is the low on this print. But as I say, a realistic low, I don't consider that a realistic low when the tail jumps from 1550 to 1410. Not sure if that's an erroneous print. Not sure if that's just used in how they're calculating the VIX. Nonetheless, it pops up. but I consider this a 1550 VIX, even this low here, right? Really? The low that we've seen in the VIX this over the past 5 days, I'll say, 1521. So with that in mind, 1521 is a real low here. 1515 was the low as we go back a few weeks ago. I think we're talking about an area of June 11th. And same thing, just for some context here, June 11th, where are we? There's our June 11th low, okay? And that's why this tail that gives you a low of 1504, I don't like using that as much as using a real low over here. Nonetheless, folks, the point being, lower VIX numbers across the board as we come into summer trading, as we come into a jobs number, and we got record prices in the S&Ps trading at 4287. How about adding 160 points over about the last 6 or 7 trading days? I think we got a break coming up, do we? Can't hear it. Maybe we do?
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets in the positive with the S&Ps up 6 points. NASDAQ 100 positive by 4. The Dow positive by 98 points this morning. If you head on over to the front page, TFNN, folks, yesterday, Tom O'Brien, my dad, put out his 1,001st gold report. We're celebrating the 1,000th gold report, folks, put out 8 days ago. Tremendous achievement by my dad to be just the level of devotion, folks, to do a weekly newsletter. Let me tell you, I do a newsletter. There are no vacations when you have subscribers, folks, all right? You don't take a week off. You're always thinking of your subscribers, putting out that weekly report, 1,000 straight weeks. Congrats to my dad on that achievement. And we're doing a Tiger Dollar sale going on through this weekend, folks. So I encourage you, if you're subscribed to anything we do at TFNN, folks, any newsletter, any service at TFNN, you can use Tiger Dollars. You apply them to your account. They're automatically used for your monthly recurring charges, your 6-month, your yearly. They're automatically used. You don't have to do anything until your balance reaches 0. Then it will revert back to a credit card. So you apply them once. They're done. They apply to your account on all future transactions used with Tiger Dollars, and you can get up to a 40% bonus right now for your Tiger Dollar purchase. And also, the gold report pricing. It's going up, folks. Last chance to lock in the rate. If you're a current subscriber, you don't have to do anything. You're grandfathered into the rate that you currently have going forward. If you want to lock in those rates, folks, you're thinking about signing up. We have some volatility on gold going on for sure. Not exactly in the right direction for some of the equities in that gold report. But as the saying goes, if you like gold at 1,900, you might love it at 1,757. I joke, but volatility is in that market in a big way. The equities are rocking and rolling as well. Great time to sign up for the gold report, folks. Check it out on the front page, TFNN. And that still comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee when you sign up. So you lock in the rate. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. You can still cancel and get a refund in that market, as we got some volatility, folks, in the metals market in a big way. I mean, even I had an article up here talking about Bloomberg, how commodity traders harvest billions while prices rise for everyone else. Didn't quite get to it, but it would make sense, right? From oil to steel, raw material prices surging, and the world economy recovers. How much further does the boom have to run? Well, we'll find out, folks. We got some dollar strength going on. We'll finish it up with the euro, U.S. dollar. How about that? We got the euro, U.S. dollar on a 15-minute basis, catching a little bit of a pop. So there you go. You might see a little bit of a gold pop as well. We're now about $7 off the bottom there. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for starting your day with me. Stay tuned. Basil Chapman's coming up live next with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Live programming all day at TFNN. We'll be right back.
Building wealth trading in the stock market